Okay, so for this, you're going to have the cube root of 64, which is going to be 4 times 4 times 4, so we just get 4. And then since you cannot take the cube root of that, it's going to be x, y to the cube. Number 2 is the same case. You cannot take the square root of 69 or m, so it's 69m to the 1/2. The next one is we're going to simplify 25x to the 5th divided by 5x to the negative 2. Okay, so 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5. And then this is going to be minus minus 2, minus minus 2. So two negatives become a positive. So then you're going to say I have x to the 7th, and this is a 1, so then I have 5x to the 7th. Number 4, you're subtracting the exponents, so negative 1/4 minus 1/4. I have x to the 2/4, and you have to simplify. So then you're going to say x to the 1/2. Okay, number 5, 2 to the 4th is going to be 16. And then x to the 1/3 is a cube root of x. Okay, number 6, simplify and solve. Negative 1 to the 4th power is 1. And then you're going to say the square root of y squared is y. So your solution is y. You're going to simplify and solve. So 3 to the 3rd, negative, and then 5 to the 3rd, and x to the 3rd. Okay, it goes to each of those. Is going to be negative 9 over 125 x to the 3rd. And you cannot simplify that. So in this case, you're going to have the same thing. The power goes to each variable, x to the 3rd over y to the 3rd. Okay, number 9. The area is, so area equals x plus 1 to the 6. What is the length of the side? So remember that area is that, so you're going to take the square root of this, and it's going to be x plus 1 to the 3rd. Okay, if you read this from the length of leg B, it says hypotenuse. A is 8. Okay, so A equals 8, B we're not sure, and C equals 6. So C in particular, so C should be the longest length. So it's the longest length of a right triangle. So because C is not the longest length, because in this case, A is greater than C, this whole problem is false. Because C is not the longest length of the right triangle. Okay? So the answer here is just false or does not exist, but you need to know why. This is the why. Okay. Number 11. This is an even root. You're going to need the square root. So it's 4 divided by 2, which is x squared, and then 8 divided by 2, which is y to the 4th. That's your solution. Number 11. Simplify the radical expression where n is odd, positive integer. So you have the 5nth root of x to the 4n. So you're going to say 4n over 5n equals 4 over 5. So your solution is going to be x to the 4/5. All right, number 13. Simplify the radical expression where n is an even positive integer. So you're going to have 2n divided by n equals 2. So you're going to have x squared. That's absolute value. And 14. Where n is odd, you have the nth root of 5n plus 2. So the power is n plus 2. So it's 5n times 5 squared underneath the nth root. So then becomes 5n over n times 2 over n equals 5 times 5 2 over n. Okay, you can put parentheses around that. Okay. 15. N is odd, so this is equivalent. So you're going to say the cube root of negative 64 is equal to negative 4. And then the cube root of x to 3n, remember this is all being multiplied, is 3n divided by 3. So my solution is negative 4 x n. Those cancel out and I just get n. Okay, number 16, where n is even, it says the 4th root of negative y to the 6 is even. You're just going to leave that negative there. So you're going to say 6 divided by 4. So 4 goes into 6 one time with the remainder of 2, because 4 minus 6 is 2. So you're going to say y to the first. This is going to go inside the radical. So then you're going to have the 4th root of negative y squared. So y to the 4th root negative y squared is your solution. Okay, so here you have to get rid of this because it's not underneath the radical. So you're going to say minus 6, negative 5 equals the square root of y minus 3. So negative 5 equals the square root of y minus 3. You're going to square both sides. So you're going to get y minus 3 equals 25. So 25 equals y minus 3. You're going to add 3 to both sides. 28 equals y. Number 18, you're going to square both sides. X squared equals the square root of 2x plus 1 squared. X squared equals 2x plus 1. You're solving for x. I know that this is sets x equals, so you're just going to keep on going. So it's going to be minus 1, minus 1. So then x squared minus 1 equals 2x. And then x squared minus 1 equals 2x divided by 2 divided by 2. X equals x squared minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so you're going to have to subtract the 2 from both sides. You're going to say minus 2 minus 2. I'm going to say 2 equals the square root of 3x, so square both sides. So then you get 4 equals 3x divided by 3 divided by 3. X equals 4/3. Number 20. You're going to solve for x here. Plus 1 plus 1. 0 equals 9x. Square both sides. This is a little extra, but just so you can see. 0 equals 9x, divide by 9, x equals 0. Okay, number 21, find the 6 trigonometric functions for triangle XYZ for angle X. So you're gonna draw the triangle. I'm just making my own, which is gonna be X, Y, and Z. So this is capital X, capital Y, capital Z. So we're trying to find out what's happening here on angle X. So we can call this theta. Let's make that a different color. So angle X is equivalent to theta. So let's go ahead and designate our side. So if we go across, this is going to be the opposite. So this will be the adjacent, and this will be the hypotenuse. Something very specific to this problem is because we're looking for theta or angle X, we're also going to call this side little x. This side will be little y, and this side will be little z. So we're trying to find the 6 trigonometric functions. I'm just going to get another Post-it and put it so you can see it. So we know that sine of theta is going to be equivalent to opposite over hypotenuse. So my opposite over my hypotenuse is going to be little x over little y. Okay, let's just make a line down here. And then let's talk about the reciprocal functions. Or the reciprocal trigonometric functions. So the reciprocal of sine theta is going to be cosecant theta. So that's going to be hypotenuse over opposite, which is equivalent to y over x. So it's the opposite of that. And then you have cosine of theta. So again, cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So you have little z over y. So I have little z over y. So I have z over y. And then let's look again at the reciprocal, which is going to be secant, which is going to be hypotenuse over adjacent. And that's equivalent to y over z. And lastly, you have tangent of theta, which is opposite over adjacent. So that's going to be little x over little z. And then you have cotangent of theta, which is equivalent to adjacent over opposite, which is equivalent to little z over little x. Okay, the 6 trigonometric functions for number 22. Build the triangle again. So this is x, y, and z. And then it says for angle z, so angle z is going to be equal to theta. So this right here is going to be theta. So then if we go across, this is little z. Go across, this is little y. And come across, this is little x. And then just do trig functions from here. So sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So z, this is also going to be opposite. This is also going to be adjacent. And this is going to be the hypotenuse. So it's going to be little z over y. Cosine theta is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's going to be little x over little y. Tangent theta is going to be opposite over adjacent. So that's going to be little z over little x. And then on this side, we're going to talk about reciprocals. So the reciprocal of sine theta, when we're talking about the sides, is going to be hypotenuse over opposite, which is cosecant theta, which is equal to y, little y over z. Then you have secant theta, hypotenuse over adjacent. That's going to be y over z. And then you have cotangent theta, adjacent over opposite, which is going to be little x over little z. Okay, again, this is number 22. Okay, so you're going to have 2 pi times 180 over pi. Multiply going across, 360 degrees. Pi over pi equals 360 degrees. And you do that because the pi's cancel out. So your solution. And then you're going to convert negative 45 degrees. And so that's going to be pi over 180 degrees. So I get negative 40, that's over 1. Negative 45 pi degrees over 180 degrees. So the degrees cross out. Also, these reduce to a 1 and a 4. So your solution is going to be negative pi over 4. And this is going to be radians.